Okay, so I have just had my appointment with the trans health specialist. Halle freaking Luya. But just like, thank you, right? It is astonishing how intense the binary programming is for folks on this planet, right? Like, even a super trans affirming provider, I happen to have my primary care doctor is a trans person, right? A trans man. So binary, but a trans person who's like lived experience and also like whole like goal is to support trans people could not like figure out how to have a conversation with me about what I'm like wanting for my body and without like putting me on the binary, right? It's so amazing. And all my other providers have been super trans affirming, but just like I've seen another doctor at my practice who's like their trans health specialist, another doctor who I was referred to who's their trans health specialist, like two other gynecologists who were trans affirming, but like all of these people were putting me on a level of testosterone that is way, way higher than what I was asking for. And this person today, thank God, finally understood that. She was like, why did they ever put you on this high of testosterone? I was like, I think it's because I'm assigned female at birth. And they were like, let's put you on the like trans man path a little bit lower. But my testosterone level for my blood work is in the assigned male at birth range. So I was way higher than I needed to be because I was looking for testosterone to help with perimenopause symptoms 5 years ago. That was my goal. And they put me on, um, what she said was a lower dose for gender affirming care, not a lower dose for perimenopause care. And I feel like because I was identifying as trans and non-binary, they were like, let's put you on the gender path for testosterone, even though I was explicitly saying to them, like, I am not looking for secondary sex characteristics to be changed, right? They like couldn't hear it because oh, this programming is so strong. So, anyways, to all folks who work with trans people, like, please try and listen to what they're asking for, not to what you think is the like version of what it means to be trans. Like, if you've met one trans person, you've met one trans person. Like, because I was assigned female at birth and because I got top surgery, I think that people just put me in that category of like, I would want these other secondary sex characteristics. And like, I was okay with it. I knew that they would happen, but I wasn't offered the option of having testosterone to help with perimenopause without getting the secondary sex characteristics, right? And that option exists because a lot of women identifying people access that option. So I now have, all these secondary sex characteristics that are never going to go away, like facial hair and vocal changes and body hair. And yeah, I just feel like, hey guys, why couldn't we figure this out? But I'm incredibly grateful that I live in a state and a city where we happen to have a trans health clinic, and it has taken me 5 years to get in there, but I am in, and I am thrilled and so grateful. So, all of this to say, we are going to reduce the testosterone as a first line of what we are going to do. I have started the estrogen patch and norethindrone for the progesterone, which is the birth control, progesterone only birth control. This doctor was like, that is not a great long-term option for protecting the uterus. Um, I was not told that. The goal with doing the progesterone birth control was to have less of a chance of um, SI, um, the not wanting to live. Um, and to reduce the chance of bleeding. Which also all of these people have been like convinced that I'm really, really, really wanting to avoid bleeding, which I'm not. Like, I actually was a person who liked having a period. It makes me feel like kind of, I don't know, like the rhythm of the earth. I really like it. I like to sort of like have that like seasons that a menstrual cycle gives you. It makes me feel connected to like witchiness. I don't know. I love it. And I haven't had it for several years because of the testosterone. I was not loving that I was actually having a super, super heavy period. So I was like gushing blood all of the time, which was not enjoyable to me. But she was like, this doctor was like, did anyone ultrasound you? Like, why were you gushing blood? And I was like, no, nobody checked. And she's like, do you have fibroids? Do you? And I'm like, no, I don't know. Um, so she was like, yeah, let's reduce the testosterone. And then she was like, and you can have an IUD if you don't want to have a period. And I'm assuming you like really don't want to bleed. And I was like, let's not assume that. Like, I liked bleeding actually. Um, so so she's like, oh, and it's like even her, she needed, I like had to kind of drive that home. Let's not assume, right? So we're going to reduce the testosterone, and I have kind of like a supply of testosterone already. So we're going to like, I can choose between two options. I can either like try to reduce that working with what I have, like try to go every other or like cut the dose in half. It's gel, so I would like wash away half of it or something. But she said she could also just prescribe me a new like um assigned female at birth, like women identifying uh for perimenopause dose of testosterone because she said getting off of the testosterone completely is probably gonna leave me feeling a little crummy. Um, and so she's like, some testosterone would be nice. We don't want it to like completely disappear from your system, but I don't need to be at the assigned male at birth range, which is what I'm in right now. Um, and so we're going to gradually taper off of that. Right now, I'm at 2 pumps of 10 milligrams gel per day. We're going to reduce for 1 week to 1 pump per day. Then I'll either switch after that week to 1 pump every other day or switch to the like new dosing, new prescription, which I don't have that yet. So I will share that when I have that. But I think it's like um, uh, 5 milligrams, I want to say. Let's see, did I write that down? Um, took a lot of notes. 5 milligrams. Yeah. So right now I'm at 20. So it's a fourth of what I'm taking right now. Um, so we will do 6 to 8 weeks of that, cutting my testosterone by a fourth, like down to a fourth of it. So from 20 to 5. And then we'll see what happens if I start bleeding again. That's the other thing we don't know. Like, am I still having a period or have I reached menopause? So we'll see. I'm 46, but I started, these perimenopause symptoms at 38. So let's see if I'm still having a period or not. Let's see what that period is like. If I am not having a period, I've reached menopause, great. If I am having a period still and it feels comfortable to me, then great. If it's a gushing blood type of situation like before, then she'll recommend an ultrasound. We'll see if there's something going on, fibroids, etc. If not, and I'd like to stop having a period, then she'd recommend an IUD. Um, and if I don't want to do the IUD because of pain. There's several like options, like you can get it put in with sedation. You can use this like vibrating um, like thing that it shows to reduce the pain with it. If I still don't want to get that, and that is a like day of procedure that you can just go back to work afterwards for most people. Some people like to take the rest of the day off and then go back to work the next day, but it's accessible to me. I wouldn't have to take off more than a day. Um, if that is not what I want to do, an IUD, then she would recommend me trying a combined estrogen progesterone patch. She said like her first choice progesterone wise is the Prometrium, which is an oral progesterone. But I took that and I got a ocular migraine, which I hadn't had in like 5 years the first day. So that's like off the table for me, because I do not want to have those migraines. I could have tried it for longer and maybe my body would have got used to it, but I just am like, no, absolutely not. So second choice for her is IUD. Third choice, if I don't want to get IUD, is to switch from just the estrogen patch and the norethindrone to a combined patch, which none of these other doctors has mentioned, which has estrogen and progesterone in the patch. Um, and she said the norethindrone is not something she wants long term because it is like off label to prescribe it for perimenopause, and she doesn't feel like long term it's a safe option for like endometrial care for like making sure my uterus stays safe. So what we'll do is we're going to, and then she thinks long term, like a little bit of testosterone would be nice, as long as it's feeling comfortable for me, and continue the vaginal estrogen. So she said, of all the things, the last thing to discontinue would be the vaginal estrogen. The most important thing to continue is the vaginal estrogen. So I thought that was great. So continue the vaginal estrogen, continue the estrogen patch and the norethindrone, taper off of the testosterone. Then in 6 to 8 weeks, we'll do another blood level. And then we will uh, check in about what's happening. Am I bleeding? Uh, is it working for me? And then we'll decide which way to change the progesterone from the norethindrone, which is the progesterone birth control, to either IUD or combined estrogen progesterone patch. And then we will check back in after 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks of that. Um, I can check in as often as I want, but like we can give that a try, whichever one we choose. And then we'll keep like tweaking with it. The other really beautiful news is that uh, I am on the waiting list for the speech pathologist for my vocal pain. Um, and there is option once I sort of get the testosterone lowered to see if I can get electrolysis, facial hair removal, paid for by insurance, possibly. Which sensory wise, it's really ugh, for me. So that might be possible, which I didn't know there was a possibility of getting insurance to help with that. So I'm really excited about that. So she said what we're going to let it do over the next 6 to 8 weeks is like it may thin a little bit. Um, so might as well not start the electrolysis until we see what it does. It won't go away, but it may like thin a little bit with less testosterone in my system. Yay, that'd be so happy for me. Um, I can feel each and every little hair like coming through the hair follicle. So sensory wise, it's a lot for me, whether I shave it or not. And it was never a goal for me. And, if there's anyone out there who's an assigned female at birth person who wants help with perimenopause and also identifies as non-binary or trans, but doesn't want those secondary sex characteristics, like just let it be known if your doctor's like, let's do low dose testosterone, you can ask for assigned female at birth perimenopause testosterone if you don't want the secondary sex characteristics. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Um, Yep, said all that, all that. Okay, here's another good piece of information. Um, with the patch, if your patch falls off, it is better to replace it than to stick it back on. She's like, if it's like immediate and still sticky, you can try to stick it back on, but probably better to replace it. If it's like flaking off, then it's probably not able to do its job. And she said when you first put your patch on, that it is really helpful if you hold it on with your hand for a good chunk of time. The warmth of your hand is going to help that adhesive to work and to stick. My patch has been falling off like as soon as I take a shower. So she said if you're a person that the patch falls off often, then you may have to get help like with your insurance to like get it more often if you're replacing it more often. Um, so I'll probably put, because my patch, I put it on um 2 days ago and it's fallen off both days after the shower. Um, so I may put on a new one today, just for good measure. Okay. As I'm tapering down with the testosterone, she's like, if I'm like down to once a day and it's feeling funky and I want to like increase it, like I can kind of modulate that and taper it in a way that feels most comfortable. Mm, and okay, I think we got it. So that's my update. I'm super grateful. Just like sad a little bit that I didn't have this information up front, but like really grateful that I finally have it, because there's a chance that, I was experiencing a double whammy. Like my ovaries were producing less estrogen because of um, perimenopause, but also the testosterone was suppressing their production of estrogen. So when I was trying to like re-give estrogen, I was like working against the testosterone. So if we can get it down to a level that the testosterone is not suppressing my ovaries production of estrogen, then the estrogen that I'm adding will be like more because it won't be as depleted, and maybe even more effective. So let's see. I will share an update. I'm so grateful that I was able to get into this provider. And if anyone has any thoughts or questions, I would love to hear them.